Another challenge that we have in our marriage is finances. Okay. Our budget is so tight. Um, I don't think it's the tightest out there though, but it's just tight enough. It's real uncomfortable and we definitely have to make sacrifices and so forth. We have a podcast episode. I wish I could remember off the top of my head which one it is, but maybe we'll be able to link it or put it in post, like edit it in, so that you can see which episode. But we did talk about I don't remember which number, but it was downsizing to upgrade. So we talked about how that we moved into a smaller apartment, um, where the rent is not necessarily cheaper. Actually, it was a lateral move financially, but we just wanted to get out of um, a program and be more and rely more on God. We just felt like that was like we were ready. Like this is the season to just go ahead and step away from that. No shade or anything. Everybody needs help sometimes, but for us, that season's over. We were ready to rely on God. And truly, God's been faithful. We've been here since the end of last year ish. So it's been like a year. Yeah, it's been about a year. And God has been faithful for a year to us. We've just been relying on him and he's been sending people. It's actually miraculous if I really think about it, like how that God has just continued to supply our needs and supply our needs and supply our needs when we didn't have. I mean, even this home birth, it's not free. Okay. This home birth costs thousands of dollars that I'm about to have. And it's like we hired them not knowing how we were going to pay them. And God just keeps making a way. Like he's so faithful. So it's crazy because it is a marital challenge because we constantly have to talk about the budget. We constantly, every little thing I spend, I feel pressure, like it puts pressure on the budget. It puts pressure on what we have and so on and so forth. But then there's just that beauty at the same time of how God truly does provide for us. And I think that's the thing, when you're in a hardship in your marriage, you have to look to God for help, because your spouse is probably doing the best that they can, in improving whatever that thing is in your, whether it's an anger issue, whether it's provision, whether it's homemaking as a woman, like they're trying, and grace needs to be applied, and not even just grace, because my husband has a great job and everything. It's more like just patience, like patience for like the personal projects we're working on to get off the ground, that maybe we would get to have a successful business, which is like an ultimate goal for us, that he wouldn't have to work 9 to 5. Patience that in the meantime that he's still working 9 to 5 for this season, that he's working for someone else, that something more lucrative will come across his table, that will give us a little bit more room to um, not just to live really, because we do live, but to be even more generous, to be able to even do ministry the way we want to do ministry, like without having to overthink things. So pray for your spouse and really look to God to fill in the gaps, you know, because everybody has shortcomings and everybody has challenging seasons, and raising small kids is not a joke. So a lot of times, even couples who like are better off financially than us, they still feel strained because just that season of raising small kids is easy to expend a lot. It's easy to, um, and not everyone's like us. Like we have a value of contentment and simplicity. That's like one of our deep core values. But especially when you live in America, it's easy to get lost in consumerism, and so even when you actually probably have quite enough, you feel like you don't have enough. And it's just this constant battle. It's really a spiritual battle. So I want to encourage us all not to, put so much strain and pressure on our partners, even though it is a marital challenge, but really look to God to supply all your needs. And so, yeah, I thought I'd say more about Thomas, but I guess I didn't have much to say about Thomas and I and how we relate. I don't know. I think we understand where we're at. Like we understand the season we're in. We understand each other. It does bring strain sometimes. Like, all right, how are we gonna put gas in the car? How are we gonna make it to the next paycheck? This week we have a little more. this paycheck, we have a little more wiggle room, but this other paycheck, like we get in the month is like there's almost nothing left over, like yeah, it takes careful planning. It takes denying of the flesh, and it takes literally like the miracle working power of God. Like he'll just $20 here, $10 there, like, and we just make ends meet. So, and I just want to, at risk of rambling, praise God because at the same time that things are tight, but I also feel spoiled. Like it's been hard to cook every day. The more pregnant I get, I already wasn't the best cook anyway. And find cooking stressful instead of like therapeutic, like some other people. And, my like how I feel bodily sometimes, like I tell Thomas all the time, sometimes I wish I didn't have to eat. Like it's not, when we eat out and stuff, it's not always because I'm excited about food. I love food. Like in this pregnancy, it's been like, I just know I have this baby to feed. Like, and I don't have the strength, the creativity, the anything to get something done, but we have to eat something because for the sake of the baby, but I don't even feel like eating. I'm nauseous. I'm whatever, but um we've even had the room in the budget, or we've somehow managed to eat out when we need to eat out or whatever, like do something that would be considered extra. Maybe we should just be eating rice and beans and rice like Dave Ramsey always says. I often take time to self-examine, and I feel like, wow, I'm really rambling. Sorry. I often take time to self-examine and, wonder to myself or ask myself how, like, there's definitely ways I could be more frugal. There are definitely ways if I was really disciplined that we could manage the finances better. Um, I'm mostly saying I because I am the one who does most of the grocery shopping and does most of the gas, like the things that are more like um more what's the word, like kind of like changing, as opposed to like the bills, which don't really change, like rent and electricity doesn't vary that much, and so on and so forth, the car insurance, whatever, like those things don't change much. So the things that change a lot, I feel like I'm the one who mostly spends in them, so I think I take on a lot of mental burden on those things. But and I ask myself, like, can I do any better? um and I think I can. But I also think God has just been so gracious that even when I don't perform my best, he still he still makes room for us to be able to like just enjoy small pleasures of life and to take a load off of our shoulders to, you know, yeah, not have to strain too much. So yeah, that's all.